Hello and welcome to Shanghai, a city of around 35 million people and just a small handful of writers. Here I'm on my way to Tower X. Tower X is our local hidden hall of fame for the writers that are here. My name is Desio and I'm a French graffiti artist in Shanghai. So we don't often have visitors, but today Savi is visiting from out of town, so we decided to all welcome him by organizing this little paint session. We each found our spot and started to paint. So this time, skipping to directly where I'm starting to fill in, because the first lines got really messy. So if you want to know how I first do my lines, you can check out my previous videos. And I had basically just a bunch of scraps that I was trying to use up. I decided to go with a negative fill, so that's kind of like a dark fill with a light outline, and going into a kind of a classic style piece again this time. Didn't want to spend too much time thinking about my graffiti, and instead spend more time talking to people and chilling. So the technique I have for using scraps when I'm not really sure how much paint I have is to use the cans that I have a lot of on the sides, on the beginning or the end of the piece, and the cans that I have little of just on one letter, kind of like in the middle. So for example, here I knew I didn't have much green, and so to use that green I just put it on the second letter. This way it kind of seems as if everything was purposeful. It's a way of balancing out colors, and the black kind of like frames my piece. Now just at this moment it started to rain. It started to pour actually, so it was like really raining for quite a bit. Had to wait for a while for the rain to stop, and then we were back at it. I decided to brighten up, so with the lighter colors I highlight some of the parts, some of the edges, and try to see, creating a little more volume and defining more the shapes by doing so. For the outline, I decided to go with the light orange. I choose this color as a contrast in both hue and brightness to the rest of the colors. Orange is a complementary color of blue and greens, and by choosing a light orange, I ensure it pops out well from the wall. Also, for this piece, I wanted the outline to feel chunky, so that means using a relatively wide outline and rounding off all the edges in continuous slow strokes. It's a bit challenging to do and film holding a phone at the same time, so I only filmed the close-up for the first two letters and then reverted to the GoPro on a tripod. I'll definitely try and get a head strap or something for future videos, as I feel it'd be a lot better. Once the outline finished, I went on to the 3D, opting for a realistic 3D with a fade from light to dark according to an imaginary light source. I start with the mid-range colors and generally go lighter and darker incrementally until it feels right, integrating the outline for a more realistic finish. And while I was doing this, I also take the time to look. I should have spent a little bit more time to look. I realized that I had some issues. For instance, here I noticed one of the issue was in the bottom of my E. The rounded part was behind but couldn't really fit the top. I think it didn't connect well. So I think it would unbalance the E. I decided to add a dot to cover this. The shape came naturally and felt better than a star, arrow, or a bit. Quite happy with that, but I should have taken the time at the same moment to check out for other issues, as a couple of other parts I think could have been attended to. Now once the outline and 3D finish, I go on to adding shadows to make it pop out. Now I put the shadows both in the background with a black. Sometimes I'll go with just a lighter tone of the background, but this time I decided for a black. It kind of gives that ultra flash, you know, as if you're taking a camera with a flash on. And I also did that inside the letters, making the edges more crisp, and also kind of like making each part of the letter inside kind of like pop out a little bit more. I also went on to add detailing, and adding small detailing and flourishes inside the piece. I came up with this idea of putting these green flames in the green part, as well as some other parts, kind of like to burn the piece up, as well as some little tidbits here and there, adding a little layer of intricacy for if you spend a little time to look. At this point, I also had to go. I was really in a hurry, so I decided to sign and head out. But no matter how much I was saying oh, I have to go, I just couldn't leave it that way. I really felt like my background was way too barren and the piece needed something to stand out. I started by putting these big fat cap lines in the background, and while I was doing this, the image of Pigpen from Charlie Brown came to mind, and the way they put the clouds that kind of goes over him, but it's a little transparent, this kind of thing. I thought, I'm gonna try and do this. And so with the colors I had, I reinterpreted it, and yeah, I'm quite happy with the look. It ended up looking more like bubbles. It's kind of a good surprise and something I might do again in the future. And here you have it, the final wall with all the little details coming out of the bubble cloud. A real nice day to be out, and it was great to see Savvy again, and of course, shout out to everyone that was there. A big up to Elsa, Savvy, Esper, Snore, and Arc3. Now if you have any questions or would like to comment, write them below and I'll be sure to reply. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the new one.